Hello everyone, welcome back to Newsroom. I'm Chella Smith. This is your Middle East U.S. entertainment news here on YouTube. I air on Fridays. I bring you the latest on reforms and economics of Iraq based on reports put out by the Middle East news media outlets. I do this weekly review and it's based off my interest. Last week we talked about the budget being nearly ready, the Arab summit speech, Biden signing executive orders including the 13303, 22 stations of the Iraqi railway project, collected taxes and customs, the bank POS going dark due to the changes in the central bank system, and reforms of the energy files. Make sure you're subscribed and turn those notification bells on. Let's take a look at this week's headlines. Earth News reports Finance Minister Taif Sami stressed the importance of activating the memorandums and understanding signed with the Saudi sides related to the sector of investment, agriculture, health, and industry. A statement by the ministry said that the Minister of Finance Taif Sami Mohammed, in her second meeting with the Saudi Minister of Investments, His Excellency Khalid Al Faleh, stressed that the importance of activating the memorandums of understandings signed with the Saudi side related to the sector of banks and supporting projects of the sector of industry, agriculture, health, and the field of trade movement between the two countries. Sami explains the roles of the committee from the two sides in activating the projects proposed by the Saudi brothers related to the aspects of funding and grants provided for the infrastructure proposal in Iraq, such as hospitals, schools, health centers, and the gain sell projects in the governorates. Sami's welcomed the Kingdom of Governments' desire to contribute to the Iraqi Development Fund, which is to be established once the approval of the Iraqi parliament is obtained. The Ministry of Finance also said during her meeting with the representatives of the Saudi Development Fund and the Islamic Bank, she discussed and welcomed the proposed projects to be implemented in Iraq, as she promised to include those in the general federal budget for the Republic of Iraq for year 2024. It is noteworthy that the meetings came on the sidelines of the meetings of the Iraqi-Saudi Coordination Council in the fifth session held in Jeddah, with the participation of high-level delegations that included a number of ministers and governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, in addition to Saudi-Iraqi Economic Forum, in the presence of a number of businessmen in the two countries. On the political side of the budget, Readins News reports the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives confirmed that the Kurds will not allow the session of the House of Representatives to be held to vote on the budget if Article 13 and 14 of the draft law related to the entitlement of the Kurdistan region are amended. Abdullah said in a press statement Thursday that discussions of the draft law on financing are continuing and that the Finance Committee has not finished its work so far, explaining that remaining articles related to the entitlement of the Kurdistan region are Articles of 13 and 14 of the draft law. After passing Article 12 and 2 of Article 13, he laminated attempts to amend Article 13 and 14. Saying, "We will not allow them to be amended because they are products of dialogue between two governments that have lasted for several months and have technical and administrative aspects." It's been noted that the MPs who voted to amend the two articles have made proposals to amend them. It was said that they would reject them. On the unfinished articles of the draft law, he referred to the doors of transfers and additional materials, explaining that the draft consists of 68 articles when it reaches us, and now there are additional articles proposed by the Finance Committee that are being added, and the draft is at its end. He noted that if these two articles related to the Kurdistan region are agreed upon, he says that he expects the draft law to be completed within one day. On the possibility of voting on the draft budget law next Saturday, he said that it depends on resolving differences of Article 13 and 14, and that if there is no agreement, he says, we will not allow the inclusions of more than one proposal to vote, and it must be decided before that. In this context, he says that the Parliament session is not a place to resolve these differences, and if they exist, they must be resolved before the political forces among themselves. And without him, we will not allow the Parliament session to be held. And earlier, the Speaker of House of Representatives, Mohammed Al-Halbasi, announced next Saturday as the date for voting on the budget law. Alpharet News reported the Iraqi Fund announced the recovery of more than $20 million of the Iraqi funds in the state of Kuwait. A statement by the Integrity Commission, a copy of which was received by the chairman of board of directors of the fund, and it was confirmed that the funds in the framework of its follow-up of Iraqi funds abroad and is working to recover them by diplomatic and legal means, succeeded in the recovery amount of $20,437,157 from the fund that were deposited into the accounts of the secretariats of the Embassy of Iraq in Kuwait at the National Bank of Kuwait. After reactivating the accounts and financing the balances, he explained that the funds have been reserved since 1990 and were subject to confiscation and closure of the accounts, and after proving and returning them, they were deposited as trust to the account of the Iraqi Embassy in Kuwait, appreciating the role of the Minister of Foreign Affairs in exerting efforts and cooperation in recovering the funds, indicating that the Central Bank of Iraq reported depositing the amount of the Iraqi II accounts in the U.S. Federal Reserves. It should be noted that the Iraqi Asset Recovery Fund announced in mid-May the recovery of liquidation amount of one of the companies and followed up on the settlement of $80 million at the Credit Suisse Bank. There's so much talk about the budget. This is something to look forward to. The Iraqi Business News reported on June 16th the IBBC will be hosting possibly the largest delegation of Iraqi business and government officials to the UK in the recent times. This event itself is an indicator of more internationalist approach Iraqis are taking to business, trade, culture, and diplomatic engagements with their neighbors and the world. You can hear sessions on finance and energy from leading international speakers such as BP and BASRA Gas, Standard Chartered, the TBI and UKEF, GE, Siemens, and the Souders Group, and high-profile speakers on heritage from the British Museum, and a tech session with SAP, MasterCard, and Iraq's new streaming stars, 101. Professional Frank Gunter will also be launching the IBBC Advisory Council reports on ports and airports, and the Deputy Minister of Oil and the Chairman of National Investment Commissions are making keynote speeches. Since Saddam Hussein times, Iraq has been semi-closed society with movement outside the country, bared until 2003, and then with limited confidence and resources to travel. Iraqi businesses have largely been mourned by the conflict till the defeat of ISIS and the terrorism more widely. Since then, Iraqi has stabilized, enjoyed high oil prices, higher government incomes begun to take place among regional countries, hosted its neighbors, been open to international investments, especially interest in the UK support, and the Prime Minister, Mr. al-Sudani, has traveled regularly internationally since the appointment in 2023. Baghdad and Basra are bristling with new developments, and country is regularly hosting large business delegations from around the world. Whilst the IBBC co-hosted the first UK-Iraqi trade fair in mid-May, it was large. The UAE, Saudis, Japan business delegations were in Baghdad, as well as the largest ever German business delegations with over 30 company delegates. Iraqis are resilient and have always recovered from Saddam's invasion, ISIS, oil price crashes, and now it's golden time. The international communities are still lagging its views on Iraq as international travels cautions remain for the US, EU, and the UK, and corruption is still prevalent. On both counts, things are improving as the country moves towards international standards. All is very, very exciting. And you've been watching Newsroom Weekly Review. I'm Chella Smith, your Middle East U.S. entertainment news on reforms and economics Iraq. I bring you the latest in our news without having to keep up with all the different outlets. I'm here on YouTube every Friday, so don't forget to subscribe and turn those notification bells on. If you like my content, you can leave a thumbs up. If you really like my content, you can leave a comment, a super chat, or a super thanks. A friendly reminder, I'm going on vacation and I'll be returning. My return date is June 16th. I will come on live if there is a major announcement like a reinstatement or exchange news presents itself. If not, check the community chat for weekly Monday and Wednesday text updates. Those are easy for me. Again, thank you for being a subscriber, and thank you for visiting Newsroom Chella Smith for your trusted Dinar News. I'll see you guys June 16th. Take care.